Thank you for joining us for the SVG-TV Evening News for Thursday, May 8th. I'm Khalil Cato, and these are the details. As St. Vincent and the Grenadines continues to promote trade and in services for sustainable development, a number of factors are said to be critical and must first be considered if the services sector is to be truly competitive. Delivering the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Coalition of Services Industries' first public lecture yesterday in Kingstown, Deputy Director of the Regional Integration and Diaspora Unit, Narissa Gittins, explains that the idea of trade and services is often neglected, largely due to the fact that it is mostly intangible. Gittins adds that it's much easier for one to market products that can be sampled and tasted, and as a result, exporters of services are forced to make their goods meet very high standards.
It would depend on people's impressions and referrals. This can be established by providing credible standards which are equal to those on international market, earning the buyer's confidence. This can prove to be a rather difficult prospect for persons in smaller economies such as ours. The ideal would be to form coalitions, associations meeting international standards by becoming part of an international charter. Within the region, within the CARICOM region, we have seen the move towards organizing the services sector. Recognition has been given to the fact that the traditional sectors are not doing as well as they did previously, and therefore services are now being given prominence.
In explaining the importance of the service sector, Gittins says that economic statistics have shown that SVG's economy is a services-dominated one, and that the World Bank figures indicate that services account for 83.5% of GDP.
The country has developed export capability in a number of services, including tourism, financial services, entertainment, and other professional services. The agricultural sector may have sentimental attachment in the minds of many Vincentians and is certainly sensitive politically. However, its contribution has been diminishing over the years, without a doubt. The thing is, how do we add value to what we already have? And one of the ways in which we can do that is by promoting value added through our services sector. And again, in order to do that, we have to be organized, dedicated to our institution. It is going to call for us to put in a lot of work.
Meanwhile, Gittins says the development of an efficient services sector is widely seen as offering significant developmental benefits, including sustained employment for a range of skills.
Reduce vulnerability to external shocks through economic diversification. Increased in foreign exchange and in national income. Without a doubt, services are difficult to keep track of. For example, do our construction workers who move around the Caribbean know that they are in fact providing the service? And how well do we track that and keep a record? Because if we are going to promote our industry and we want to, as we will show later on, to bring it to the fore, to make sure that it gets the attention it deserves, we would need to be able to have some facts to show.
Gittins adds that efficient services have the potential to provide direct benefits to not only the customer, but also in helping to shape the overall economic performance.
It pays, therefore, to link service growth to development planning as a tool to help reduce poverty and build economies. Services are well suited for development of small and medium enterprises, where there is also the visibility of women and can contribute to growth with equity. Unlike goods, services are for small-scale businesses to export, They generally do not need large physical infrastructure in order to trade. At the same time, promoting the sector furthers the role of women in the development process.
Former Chief Agricultural Officer Fillmore Isaacs is accusing Trinidadian traders of wanting to stop the exchange between this country and the Twin Island Republic. While speaking on a recent Hit Talk program, which looked at the rejection of produce sent to Trinidad and Tobago on claims of mealybug infestation, Isaacs said he believes that the claim might just be a disguise for traders wishing to import from other banana providers.
Trinidadian traders, moneymakers now, want to cut off bananas from St. Vincent and Grenadines. Say so, and don't use the Ministry of Agriculture and St. Vincent and Grenadines pest problem as it. If they want to bring more bananas out of Suriname and out of the Dominican Republic, say so. But don't use that, because the banana is not a preferred host to pink mealybug. When the population is high, yes, it will go on a number of things.
Right.
And you know where it lodges? It lodges at the end, where we used to break off. I hope farmers still do that who sell bananas.
Current Chief Agricultural Officer Leslie Grant hinted that suspicions arose about the presence of mealybugs on the produce sent to Trinidad following a long delay by the Trinidadian authorities in providing the evidence after it was requested by the ministry here.
I know there's an apparent fear to address this matter in a frontal way.
No.
And I am going to force us in this studio to address it. That's my responsibility.
Right.
When you take those issues into consideration, it's like doing the forensic examination in the courtroom now. You've made a request for photographs, specimens, etc. And it took a long while
for them to send it, yeah.
Based on your assessment, to send that. Does that leave any opening for speculation that there may or may not have been pink mealybug present?
Effectively. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you understand? So now we have to address it. But as I said, we're engaging them 100% and we are working out.
Though admitting there is an unacceptably high amount of amputations being done here, Dr. Lennox Adams says no one is highlighting the number of limbs that are being saved from procedures. The former athlete said he was responding to articles written recently in the local press that pointed out that a vast number of persons are being put under the knife. He said many persons fail to highlight the good that is being done.
Let the truth be told that for every amputation performed at our own hospital by the dedicated healthcare professionals that are there, for everyone that is performed, 5 to 10 go home with their intact limbs. But we hear nothing about those who go home with their limbs. All we hear is about the feet and the toes that are amputated.
Dr. Adams added that in many instances, some persons only seek the hospital's attention as a last resort, while others have been frequent visitors who refuse to do better.
Those who have had their limbs amputated would have been at that hospital several times and have had their limbs saved several times and have gone home and have done nothing as far as lifestyle change and as far as maintaining good health practices is concerned.
Several persons are said to be hospitalized with injuries sustained in a vehicular collision on the VG Highway this morning. The accident involved the 3 omnibuses, 2 of which were severely damaged. SVGTV News, that is, understands that over 17 persons were taken to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital for medical attention. It is, however, not clear at this time how many are still hospitalized. SVGTV News will bring you more on this story as further information comes to hand. 2 young men whose names surfaced in police investigations into the shooting death of 20-year-old Kyle Phillips of Lomans Leeward are now in custody. Phillips was gunned down on Tuesday night just outside his home in Spring, Lomans Leeward. He is said to have received gunshot wounds to his stomach and hand. In a release issued yesterday afternoon, the police gave the 2 young men until 5 p.m. today to report to the Criminal Investigations Department. Phillips's death brought the number of murders committed here for the year thus far to 14. Hundreds of preschoolers, their guardians and teachers marched to the beat of the drum in the annual Child's Month March and Rally earlier today. The activity was just one of the listed activities slated to take place during the month of May, commemorated as Child's Month. Speaking at the rally, Senior Education Officer Maureen Williams said tolerance must begin at home. She said in many instances, persons become intolerant for the simplest of things, like waiting on their turn.
We know that this is not productive for any society. We must learn to respect each other, and from this respect will come the ability to tolerate each other and our individual differences. Parents and guardians, this must be first demonstrated in the homes. The way we treat each other, adult to adult, adult to children.
Rochelle Tanis, president of the National Association of Early Childhood Education, urged adults to lead by example, noting that they are the biggest teachers in the lives of their children. She pointed out that adults are not only limited to moms, dads, and teachers, but all persons that children interact with.
It is not just the parents in the homes or the teachers, it is persons in the community, the society, and the media. Everything that they see and they hear, this is what they are going to learn to live by. When children have to see violence on the television, when they see violence in the community, when they see violence between our governments, our neighbors, our families, even siblings and friends, this is what they're going to learn to grow with.
Meanwhile, featured speaker at the event, the Reverend Al Blake, urged those in attendance to do the right thing and do it in the right way.
God wants us to choose to be peacemakers, to choose to do the right thing and do it the right way. Aaron, Moses' brother, who tried to make peace, he did so, but he did it the wrong way. Matthew 5:9 says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God."
At today's event, there were also several performances. Here's some of what happened.
Teach me to love and how to tolerate, so in the future I will not hate.
There is said to be a need for the systematic education on the issue of child abuse in this country. That's according to child advocate Dr. Rowan Kwashihari in an interview with SVG-TV News. Dr. Kwashihari noted that it's time that persons see the seriousness of child abuse and be more educated on the topic.
Definitely need to pray for our country, and as a professional and a concerned citizen, we definitely have to work on helping people to understand that this is not natural and it is unacceptable to take advantage of a child sexually.
She also stated that teenage pregnancy is another issue in society that needs to be looked at as well.
14 cohort, we have noticed that there are more children of that age range having babies or becoming pregnant. And if you have a pregnancy, then there is clear evidence that there is abuse.
it's not a guessing game anymore. So that if a child between 10 to 14 turns up at the hospital ready to deliver a baby, then questions need to be asked and perpetrators need to be brought to justice.
Local entrepreneurs were engaged in a one-day grant writing workshop today. Executive Director of the St. Vincent and Coalition of Service Industries, SVG-CSI, Kenrick Kwashi, said that there was an abundance of resources available, but accessing these resources required individuals to be knowledgeable in writing effective grant proposals. Facilitator of the workshop, Kirk Brown, Senior Grant Writing Officer, explained that people often wondered why firms in some of the more developed territories, such as Trinidad, Jamaica, or Barbados, were successful in accessing grants. And the answer is simple. It's based on the ability to write effective grant proposals.
If persons are not prepared or informed on how to write proposals, then opportunities will come and they'll pass you by. And the truth is, it's not rocket science, but there are some key principles which I will go over today. And within the short time frame, I hope it will convey a message or an understanding of what would, let's say, constitute a good proposal.
He said it's important to be equipped with the requisite skills to write effective proposals. The objective of today's workshop is to strengthen the local capacity, and according to Brown, while some people may question why such a workshop was necessary, he cautioned that knowing the art of constructing grant proposals should not be looked at as an arbitrary exercise.
It's like, years ago when you were in school, people tell you have to know math. You never really understood why you need to know math, but you need to know math. Not that you have to be an expert at calculus, but you need to know how to add, you need to know how to subtract, and you need to know how to divide. The reality is, proposal writing, if you're in business, is a key aspect of what you do. Because without that, you certainly can't be in a position to convince anybody how you may solicit funds, whether it is an investor or you're going to get money from the bank.
The local Red Cross Association joined the celebration today of World Red Cross and Red Crescent Day. Today is the anniversary of the birth of Henry Dunant, born May 8, 1828, the founder of the International Committee of the Red Cross, ICRC, and the first recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize. Both the Executive Director of the SVG Red Cross Association, Bernard Marksman, and President Bernard Morgan described the occasion as a special one to highlight the work of the association and to appeal for universal support to alleviate human suffering.
We talk about upholding human dignity. We're talking about protecting life, preventing emergencies and natural disasters wherever we can. As you would recognize that throughout the world these days, we are talking about climatic conditions, climate change, and there are numerous types of natural disasters, including man-made disasters as well. So our focus here is to ask individuals around the world to observe these disasters and to do everything possible to alleviate human suffering when it comes to disasters.
And it gives us an opportunity to say thanks to the local volunteers and also those persons at the regional level and international level who contributed to the success of our relief efforts in the week of the flash floods in December.
In reference to the work of the local Red Cross Association, Morgan says over the last 2 years they have been involved in a number of campaigns to encourage volunteerism, particularly in schools and several communities across the island. He said this effort has resulted in the growth in their membership as they continue to form strategic partnerships to deal with some of the social issues in society.
Is the whole question of violence, domestic violence, violence in the schools. Those are issues for us, and we would be there involving in the advocacy on those issues. And recently, while we were working in response to the floods, we met a number of people suffering from HIV/AIDS. and they discussed some concerns that they were having in terms of the nutrition. For example, they were happy with the retroviral program and antiretrovirals, but they were expressing a lot of concern, 90% of them, about the nutrition and so forth. And I spoke to the Director General and I said, this issue has really touched my heart, and I think that we have to get in there. I mean, we were always concerned about this issue of HIV/AIDS and so, but we have to get in there now. We have to do a dedicated program, working with the Ministry of Health and all the stakeholders in this area. So in other words, we will be playing an advocacy role here also.
The local Red Cross Association played a key role in the relief supplies distribution for persons affected by the December 2013 trough system. And though there was some public criticism about the distribution process, the executive director made it clear that the work of the association is to help those in need.
Our thing is the humanitarian aspect of it, and we do not care who is who. We go to the communities based on our assessments. We take our relief supplies and we give to all and sundry those individuals who are in need. It doesn't matter us which color or which creed you are, because the Red Cross pillar says to us that we must be neutral, must be impartial, and we must be independent. So we do that all the time in the communities, so it doesn't matter us. However though, we try to place emphasis on the elderly and the young ones, women especially. So therefore, our target is any and everybody in the community. Once there is the need to alleviate any type of suffering, that is our mandate.